Hi, hey everybody. I'm Andrew Gitner, and if you're a student, I'm going to be your teacher for English 10 this semester. If you're a parent or guardian, welcome. I'm going to be your student's teacher for English 10 this semester. Just wanted to say hi, make a quick introduction video to kind of remind you guys of some things that you may have forgotten. I know I had a break that felt short and long at the same time because time has lost all meaning. I guess that carried over from 2020. So welcome to the new year. I wanted to start with here's what we're going to go over. I'm going to give you like a broad overview of basically what the class looks like. I'm going to tell you what your schedule is each week for remote learning. So that'll be for all your classes. I'm going to tell you what to expect in this class when we get to both the remote learning and for hybrid learning, because the in-person model, there's no guarantee at all how long we'll stay in person. So I like to have structures for both. And I'm going to talk you through some grading quirks that are a little different than other classes. And that's really where parents, I want you to listen, because I do stuff in campus, which only makes sense if you listen to this next part. So please, please, please pay attention. Now, broad overview. So second semester of English 10, we basically focus on moving from what is reality to how you can shape reality, to what happens when reality is shaped in a weird way and organized in a strange way, to how to organize your writing in order to change reality, so that later at the end we can talk about like how you can use some of these skills to change your reality. And we also talk about, toward the end of the semester, we probably, hopefully, we'll talk a little bit more about the dynamics of power in our society and how power interacts with reality. So we really do focus on the question of like, what is real? We kind of carry that question over from where a lot of us started in first semester. That's sort of broad overview of the content. Let's get to the schedule for remote learning. And I really like, this is important. I don't have fancy visuals. I'm sorry, I didn't have time. But basically, on a normal week, a quote unquote normal week for remote learning, you're going to have periods 1 through 4 on Monday and Tuesday. On Wednesday and Thursday, you're going to have periods 5 through 8. Fridays are all of your classes, but I will never, unless you schedule it with me individually, I will never have a whole class synchronous like meeting on a Friday. I'm just not going to do it. I think you guys spend enough time on video conferences, and I think that it's kinder to give you a lesson. And I don't give homework, I give you asynchronous lessons. They're important, they're a part of the curriculum. Do not miss them. I give you asynchronous lessons to complete on a Friday. And sometimes that leads into what we do the next week. So they're kind of crucial. That kind of brings us to sort of the hybrid schedule. The hybrid schedule is exactly the same, except with the A and B cohorts. When we're remote, those cohorts are together. So we'll be together in a bigger class, often on a video call, but I try to save those for when you guys talk to each other. And the expectation, we'll get there in a second. The difference in the hybrid schedule is that's when you come to school 2 days a week instead of no days a week. And you're a 40% in-person student, still a 60% remote student. So make sure, so on one day, you'll have this class 1 day a week in person. And that's usually where we'll like build on some ideas. We'll have some discussions. We might do something that has to do with like writing where you need more immediate feedback. The other day, you'll have an asynchronous lesson. And again, asynchronous just means I'm not there at the same time, but you will have a lesson to complete each week for the day that you're not in class, but you do have class. This is the only way I can put myself in 2 different places at the same time. That's what the asynchronous lessons do. I make them all. I spend a great deal of time on them, and I do use them to teach you new content. Okay. We'll talk about some strategies that some students employed that really helped them last semester. Some students really like the hybrid schedule because it turns out some things can be more efficient. Then Fridays in a hybrid model, they'll be similar to the remote days. I do, in both models, I do student appointments by appointment. So you'll have access to my appointment calendar. You click on it, you make appointments. There will be a thing at the top of Google Classroom. Parents, you can ask your student to show you. It's very simple. It's the same way parents and guardians signed up for conferences. So that's the schedule for remote. That's the schedule for hybrid. Let's go through grading quirks, and then I'll give you like an overview of what you can kind of expect in a normal week in both scenarios. So I do some weird things with grading. One that people always ask about is my late work policy. I do not take penalties in a student's grade for late work. I do not take penalties for it. I don't take 25%, and I also never refuse to take late work. I just don't. Because I think that, I don't know, I think if the grade book gives you late work penalties, then you're really just grading work habits instead of content knowledge and mastery, and I'm trying to get to the latter. The next weird thing that I do is I only put in missing assignments in campus. This is the part, parents and guardians, like I need you to zero in, like be with me here. Students too, but I really want your parents or guardians to know this because the grade book is a way to communicate with all of you. I don't put in a missing assignment in campus for most assignments unless that assignment is crucial for demonstrating that you have practiced and like learned this stuff and can demonstrate these skills. So things like essays, things like presentations, things like I'm going to ask you guys to do a portfolio. So like toward the end of the year, things like that, I will put in as missing, and it is not like it will tank your grade because of the way that the grade book is structured. Other assignments usually build up to those assignments. Instead of a missing, if you see an assignment in the grade book that has 50% and then an incomplete next to it, then that means you, the student, or parents or guardians, your student has not turned in that assignment, or I have not seen it. That's all that means. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you didn't even do it. It just means I haven't received it in a way that I understood I received it. So just like know, that's how I use, those are the two main things that you should know about the gradebook. One, if it's an M, if it says missing, that is an assignment that you must do basically to pass the English 10 class. Two, the missing assignment, if an assignment says 50% incomplete, it is missing. And three, let's go back to the late work policy. I do accept late work through the end of the semester. I will put a deadline on it because I have to finish grading everything and meet my deadlines at the end of the semester. So for an overview of a regular week, typically you'll have one in-person lesson or one lesson that we spend more time together, and then another lesson that it should take you between an hour and 90 minutes. That is the time commitment I'm expecting from you when you're in school. That if we're remote, might start with all of us together, but then you'll break out into small groups or work mostly independently while I ask students to join and talk with me. That's sort of what we're going to do for remote. For hybrid, that asynchronous lesson is going to be crucial because it will inform, and I'm expecting to see the knowledge that you get from that in your work, especially when we're in person. I have that. What else? Hold on. Let me think for a second. One last thing. In 10th grade at Golden, we do a project called a Capstone project. And basically what we're doing is we're going to complete a project that will meet an additional graduation requirement beyond the half credit you earn for English 10 this semester. So you will hear things this semester about a capstone project. That is the graduation requirement instituted by Colorado Department of Education. You might, if you Google CDE, Colorado Department of Education, and graduation requirement, you'll see something that like gives you a chart with a menu on it. You have to meet one item in that menu for math and one item in that menu for English. And if you meet both of those, that plus get the credits from high school, then you graduate. So we're going to take care of the English one before the SAT, because we don't really know what's going to happen with that, before any other tests and before you get to senior year and realize that you might not graduate because you missed this thing. We are going to close 10th grade with that capstone. So please, for the love of God, last year we had over 90% of the sophomores completed that requirement and didn't have to stress about the SAT to graduate high school. I'm really hoping we get 100% this year. I want everybody to meet this readiness requirement, and I believe, and I know, because knowledge and belief are different. I know that you can. All right, that is all the question. Like, I'm going to cut this off. This video is already 10 minutes, but if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. If you call the voicemail, I will not see it. I will not receive voicemails. They replaced the phone and nobody told me how to work it. I'm very proficient in most things. Never learned how to use this phone. So please email me if at all possible. I can also give you a work phone number that you can text that I'll get back to or call, but do not call my school extension. You won't get anything. And if we're both lucky, it'll transcribe it and email it to me, and then I will email you. Email is my preferred method of communication. With students, I can also do an instant messenger. I don't think that works super well with parents or guardians. Anyway, that's what English 10 sort of looks like this semester. That's how to get in touch with me. I'm really excited to see you guys tomorrow. Thanks.